No, it's not a review of a 1950s B movie, honest. So stick around. A very, very good Sunday morning to you, and a very good Easter Sunday morning to those of you who are celebrating. And if you're celebrating and the Easter Bunny has been around and left some delicious chocolate eggs for you, or your children maybe, probably for you, enjoy the day. Here in Manchester today, a miserable Easter Sunday, I'm afraid. It's fairly commonplace this time of year at Easter here in Manchester. We have grey skies and lots of rain, and it seems to be the trend today, but hey ho. What I want to talk about today, I'm going to make an addendum at the beginning, as it were. This is not an attack on anything, and if anybody who's been with me a long time, I am very understanding and very open to the fact that if you have a faith, any form of faith, and that faith gives you solace, comfort, and especially support when life becomes difficult, then I believe that can only be a good thing. And this video is not made by any way, shape or form to shake anybody's belief or faith in any higher power. So, as the title says, God versus aliens. It does sound like a B movie that was made in black and white in 1954, but it isn't. What it actually is kind of a response to an idea that was put in my head by listening to the radio. I listen to BBC Radio 2, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's the largest listened to radio station on the planet, no matter whether you listen to it on the radio or via the interweb or whatever, but it is. And in the afternoon, there is a presenter called Steve Wright who has a couple of assistants with him in the studio. And last week, he threw a question out there to his fellow presenters, which was very simple, but has a massive answer. But the question basically was, do you believe that there are aliens? Now, one of his co-presenters is a gentleman called Tim Smith, who basically gave an emphatic answer, which went something like, no, definitely not, no chance at all. So that got the wheels in my head turning when I kind of asked the question of myself. I seem to remember somewhere in the deep and distant past, and I'm not saying this is correct, that Mr. Smith holds a faith. He has a God in which he enjoys the knowledge that he is there to support him and has done all this. He's made all this. And that brought me onto an idea of making this video. What I want to do is kind of give a little bit of a précis, a history lesson, if you will, regarding one of, if it's not the most famous book ever written, it's certainly one of them, the Bible. The Bible was written over a long period of time, as you're well aware, and it's set into two different volumes, as it were, the Old Testament and indeed the New. The earliest Bible writings were dated to about 3,500 years ago. And they originally started with the writings of a man you probably heard of, Moses, who wrote something called the 5 Scrolls. And there is another word for it. I think it's something like the Pentateuch or something like that. It was believed that about 1400 BC, or as it's now called BCE. So obviously it was before Christ was BC, and now it's BCE, which is before the current era. God handed down to Moses two stone tablets, on which were inscribed the 10 Commandments, written by the finger of God, as it states in Exodus 31:18. Then, over time, 30 or so other contributors made additions to the Old Testament, which then took it up to about 450 BC. There was then a period of around 500 years where there were no contributions whatsoever made to the Bible. So I guess to a certain extent that can be viewed as a very early Dark Ages, as it were, as we had in kind of very old medieval times. We have the Dark Ages. I guess this period of 450, 500 years was a literal Dark Age for writing. We then came to the point in history where Jesus was born, and obviously at that point that is where the New Testament kicks in. Now, quite a large percentage of the New Testament is accredited to the Apostle Paul, starting with the whole life, the span of Jesus Christ, his birth, all the way through the miracles he performed and the impact that he had on life in that period of time, the impact he had on the Roman Empire, obviously in the miracles he performed and that kind of thing. Other contributors also then got involved, mostly from other disciples. You've obviously heard of all the major books, the 4 books of the Bible, plus writings were made, it is thought, by 2 assistants to the Apostle Paul, who were called Timothy and Titus. It's accepted that the New Testament was written in the latter half of the first year AD, and that these writings were made either from memory of people who knew Jesus Christ, or B, they were apocryphal tales. As we're very well aware, the Bible is accepted as the word of current day Judeo-Christian religion, and it is accepted as that solely on faith. So, where does this take us in the God versus aliens thing? Well, where we are right now is the 100% committed answer of Mr. Smith on Radio 2, who said, no, absolutely not. Aliens don't exist. Now, if I'm doing Mr. Smith a disservice by having this cloudy memory of him saying at some point that he carried a Christian faith with him, then that won't be this won't be the case for quite a lot of other people who carry a Christian faith, which gives them help, support, and comfort, who also believe wholeheartedly that we are God's one and only creation, the best that life can give. In the observable universe right now, and we know we can only see a relatively small part of it, and there's quite a lot of things in the universe that we don't understand. They reckon that there are 180 billion galaxies. In the Milky Way, our galaxy, so only one of those 180 billion galaxies, we have 350 billion stars, of which our star, the Sun, is only one. As we're aware, our Sun supports a solar system of 8 planets. It used to be 9, but as we're aware, Pluto is now what they call an exoplanet or a protoplanet or something like that, and is no longer classed worthy of being in the club. But within those 8 planets remaining, one is very special because it's in what they call the Goldilocks zone, where it's just right. It's not too hot, not too cold, and it's allowed us to create a planet which supports life, anything from the smallest amoeba to us, the intellectual colossi of human species. Now, given the figures that we're talking about here, where there are 180 billion galaxies and there are 350 billion stars in our galaxy alone, statistics dictate that there cannot just be us. Even if a small percentage of those 350 billion stars had some form of solar system, and even if a small percentage of those solar systems had the potential of life-supporting planets, and even if a small percentage of those life-supporting planets had actually life on them, and even if a small percentage of those had intelligent life on them, we're not alone. So my question is this, and this is the important part of this video, which is, it's not about faith and it's not about science. It's not about that at all. It's a question, and I really want your answer. And I don't, please do not give me chapter and verse about the Bible and how I'm being disrespectful to the Bible and Christianity. I'm not at all. I do not have a faith, and I fully support people who do have a faith, because I do believe that that faith does give you support and comfort, and that in anybody's book is fantastic. So here's the question: why is it, do we think, that millions and millions and millions of people around the world, and indeed of any religion, not just Christianity, but of whatever religion that has a holy book, the holy word, whatever that holy word is, they believe 100% by faith alone that there is a God? Now, why is it, given statistical evidence of there are so many galaxies and so many stars in one of those so many galaxies, that they will not accept the fact or even consider the fact that we are not alone, that there are other things out there as clever as we are? And maybe if you believe that there are fantastical flying vehicles, why can it not be that they are far more advanced than us? So that's the question. Why is it that people will accept 100% by faith alone, not supported by any evidence whatsoever, other than the written word from people who, at the very best, spent 30 odd years with a person called Jesus Christ, and then after that they're either working on memory or tales passed down? Why is it they believe by faith alone that the Bible is true, and yet they refuse to accept something that's supported by scientific evidence, that we may not be the only ones, that there may be people out there brighter than us, older than us, more technically advanced than us? Why is that? And as a closing thought, and this is how I like to think of it, in Genesis it says, and God created the heavens and the earth. Well, if you think about it logically, if God created the heavens and the earth, he created everything that's out there. So if he created everything that's out there, he also created other beings out there, as well as us here on earth. And that just goes to show how powerful and omnipresent God actually is. So if that in itself, from me, a non-believer, is not a celebration of God and his power, then what is it? So if I can say that to you as a potential believer, that I do believe that if God created the heavens and the earth, he created everything out there, what we would call aliens, why is it that people who have a faith, a religious faith, seem to not want to accept on faith, if you like, but looking at cold, hard evidence that there are others out there other than us? Let me know. Let me know what you think. I think this is one of these really big questions, but in effect, it's a really small question because it's one question split into two bits. Why is faith acceptable for one thing and faith is not accepted for the other, even when that faith on the second thing is supported by evidence? Let me know what you think. Thank you very much indeed for watching, everyone. It's a bit of a long one, this, I know, I appreciate that. But I hope if you've stuck it to the end, you've enjoyed it. And please let me know your ideas down below, as always. Not checked my numbers today, but thank you very much in advance for anybody who's subscribed. And I will be sending you my little notet of welcome in due course. So for now, people, if you've enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, share it, put it out there on any other social media that you've got. And if you've not yet subscribed, press that subscribe button and you'll see much more of this kind of merriment and nonsense in the weeks to come. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.